Alright, we are recording for what is the final part of Viscera Cleanup Detail. And I also quickly looked. So this is part 84. And I quickly looked at something that shows the time. So, not counting 82, 83, 84, so not counting this entire map. We are actually... We should be at around like 58 hours to have spent in this. Yeah, you're definitely going to find stuff. I want to start back here. This is the gore. Gore one. What is? Oh, it's actually. Wait. No, it is saying it's like over here. I think I need to grab the lip. Oh, yeah, it might be like that. Let me see, what can I talk about? Oh, I can talk about that, yeah. Because I do tend to talk about tech stuff in these videos, because it's something. I saw a thing that, the 7040 series of CPUs, mobile CPUs from AMD, will potentially be releasing in April. We'll finally see products of those, and that's the CPU series I think I would like in an upgrade. Looks like that should be good performance, good efficiency. Yeah, what I'd like, and not that I'm very happy with the laptop I have, but it is definitely old. It's underpowered by many of today's standards. So I'd like to try to hit like 15 inches, a 7040 series CPU in there. There we go. And also a discrete GPU in there, which I'd prefer it to be an AMD GPU, because then I know that something like Radeon Chill would be available, but it might not always be enough. Also, I wanted a discrete GPU in there, because that means it'll have discrete VRAM, because I think I've talked about it before, I've actually gotten graphical corruption on my laptop by doing CPU work. Intensive CPU work. Oops. Okay. So yeah, discrete memory would be good. Sorry, I needed to get a drink. It can be slow if it avoids an error. Oh, and there's... I haven't looked closely, but the 3D V-Cache variants of the 7000 series have, I don't need it. I'm gonna close out my... those have started coming out, which is neat. I don't know if I'd want one. I think I'd just like to see what they will do with a potential Threadripper with 3D. Because I could see a similar kind of hybrid design where some of the cores, some of the compute dies have it, some don't. But with so many more compute dies there. Oh, damn it! Come on, give me a break. With so many more compute dies there, what weaknesses exist for the 7900X3D and the 7950X3D might be reduced. the hell just happened? Can you make up your mind? Nope, we need to be a little... One thing, though, I did see, and it's like, good, I'm glad this product exists. I don't know if I would actually use it. Well, I could on the server I built. It wouldn't be so useful on the Threadripper system, like the desktop I'm using right now. Perfect. But it's a PCIe expansion card, used PCIe 4. That it also has a PLX, a muxer on there. PLX is actually a brand. There's another brand that it could be as well. But you can hook up, I think it's 21 different NVMe M.2 drives on it. Now, true, the total throughput will be limited by the PCIe 4.0 by 16 connection. But it's still, that's a massive amount of storage. And if you just want flash storage, that will also, you can also have redundancy built in. Because that means, like, okay, it's 21. Come on. You could have 10 mirrors in there of flash. And NVMe, well, M.2, 2TB drives are definitely a thing. 4TB drives are a thing. They get more expensive. I don't remember if we have 8TB M.2 drives or not. We might, though. But it's like, that is awesome. And that's something that we need to see more of. Especially with, like, PCIe 5, which is just a stupid amount of bandwidth that realistically no consumer has any need. Okay, I'm sorry. That is the truth. No consumer actually needs. Enterprise does, but that's enterprise. But doing things like that, because I'm just like, I would, like, for my server, that has 2.5-inch SSDs in there, 2 terabytes, because I don't need high speed there. It's that I wanted it that partly for the speed, yes, but more so the reliability. That's like flash should endure better than a hard drive, though I've yet to have a hard drive fail on me. Knock on wood. I have had hard drives come close, though. Like, actually the drive I'm recording to right now was a boot drive in a prior build, and it did start throwing errors. Actually, no, I think it was something else that I was using it for. It had been a boot drive, but then I carried it forward into another build. I think that's when it started complaining, throwing smart errors. And so what I did is I got a 1 terabyte drive to replace it, but I just made it into recording, because it's like, if I lose a recording, yes, it is a problem, but it's not terrible. It's like, okay, I can recover from that one way or another. Huh. So, I mean, this drive is actually over 10 years old. It's a hard drive. No problem with it. I mean, yes, it threw those smart errors, but basically since I was like, okay, I'm going to deprioritize my use of you, never an error. So the 6 terabyte, the lone 6 terabyte hard drive I have in the server, it's like, I don't actually have much concerns there. Now, true, I am trying to make sure it's only media, so it's like, if it fails, it's not so big an issue. Like, it's stuff I can all recover one way or another. This is something it's very... but it's still, it's like, you know, Flash in theory has higher endurance. It also should be, so if the Flash dies, but The controller doesn't. That just means that the flash should be in a read-only mode. So that's it. But it's like, I mean, that would be awesome having... The heck is saying this? Oh, I see. Is it? No. But it's like, I mean, that would be awesome. I would love to populate that. It doesn't even have to be with maximum size drives. Think about it. You could, instead of having to get a bunch of 4 terabyte drives in there, which those are like $500-$600, you get a bunch of 1 terabyte drives that are more like $100 a piece. So it'd actually be less expensive, but it's like, yeah, I can put them all in there. It's not a problem. It's like, that's awesome. And I think they are more common, maybe, but also something that could do that for SATA. Because it's like, again, it's the whole, I don't need it to be oh, it might be the bucket. It might be the bucket that's saying that all. I don't need massive amounts of read and write speed there. What I'd like is the capacity, but also the data protection. Like, the server is based on ZFS, the file system in there, and it does, the SSDs are connected in a mirror. So it's like, I got data protection there. I don't for the hard drive. I don't need it. But it's like, if I would have no problem if it could be, yeah, one SATA interface to the SSD that is then split. But it lets me have, both of them there, and they're just mirror. That would be awesome. I wouldn't mind that it would be technically slower, because even if it was SATA 3 instead of SATA 6 gigabit, SATA 3 gigabit instead of SATA 6, it still would likely be saturated. Or if it would be more likely SATA 3 gigabit to the 2 drives. So total of SATA 6 gigabit. But still, it's like, that will be saturated much more easily. That's actually part of the reason to do a mirror like that, is it can be so saturated. Ah, here. And it's like, I'd love to see that. Just give me all of it and just let me then use... Like, give me all this connectivity, and then I'll just use a file system and operating system that would allow me to have it. Okay. That would allow me to just have, like, these things configured in a way that I have the data redundancy across multiple drives. Well, data protection, I should say. It's not always redundancy. But yeah, have that across multiple drives. And, like, guaranteed maximum throughput because they can all work together. Like, that's awesome. And I don't know why you don't see that so. But it is also, it's like, hey, these, like Ryzen 5000, Intel 13th gen, are PCIe 5 things. It's like, yeah, that's great. Why don't we have something that, instead of it being, yes, you can have PCIe 5 to this by 16 slot, PCIe slot, why can't it be, now we're going to actually mux that down to 2 PCIe 4.0 by 16 slot. Because PCIe, every generation is double that, so if you mux it down a generation, you have double the number of lanes. Why don't you see... I mean, you could do that in a consumer motherboard, and people would buy it. People would love it. Well, they would have loved it more so years ago when SLI and Crossfire were a thing. Were more a thing. That's it. So there is the little bit it's set off right here. But then it's also with PCIe 5, you mux that down again, PCIe 3, and you've now quadrupled the number. I mean, it's like that's PCIe 3 is going to be plenty for a lot of people. And that's a lot of connectivity you then have. So I don't know why. Technically it does add to the cost and complexity of the board, but it's not going to be that terrible in general. And being able to say that, yeah, it's a consumer CPU you're running, but you have high-end desktop levels of connectivity, there will be people that will buy it just because of it. That is something that would market very easy. That'd be very easy to market that. Let me get up there. There we go. I really am looking forward to a sequel. Oh, I saw... Oh, wait, no, that might have been drops for this. For the mop. So that's as high as it goes, I believe. It still is suggesting something. But I have no idea what away. I wonder... I've always gone up on that side. I wonder what happened. And also, is it... It's actually... Oh, I see it now. It's right here. This vent just... cleaning. Yeah. That was it. I don't get to the inorganic shortly then. I just want to do run through. At least one thing I did see. Intel announced new Xeon processors that would be HEDT targeting, which means that they are actually trying to compete with Threadripper, so AMD will actually likely have to do consumer Threadripper again, well, prosumer. So not just Threadripper Pro, but actually Threadripper, which is what I have and I love. Let's actually make sure this. Oh, something. Ah, I see. Just some burn spot, bullet hole. Hopefully they aren't burn spot. There we go. That's actually probably what I'm gonna end up finding with this, is just bullet. Not like smalls that I miss. Because smalls are easy, actually kind of easy to catch, despite being. Although it is harder to do it in a map that's dark. Oh, I just remembered something kind of funny. So, wow, looks like I got it. With the whole media server, so I've been doing stuff with processing. Processing video. Oh. And I've also been trying to pay attention to what people are suggesting, especially with AV1, since it's encoders are still under development for them. It's funny, I saw someone talking about using 25 megabit for effectively lossless 1080p video, and it's like, that's what you're recommending? At 25 megabit, 264 is going to be effectively lost from most things, especially at 1080. It's like, I'm recording at, I think, 30 megabit right now, and I go down to 25 for the archive. And it's like, it's going to be fine. Actually, no, I might actually have it set to 20, because even 25 is more than you're just throwing bits at stuff. I'm going to grab a... But it's still, it's just funny that it's like, AV1 is like, you know, it's the ultimate codec according to some, who I don't think actually know what they're talking about completely. And I mean, there's one thing that occurred to me about it. It's like, yeah, that's actually really terrible technology in there. It's not that good. But some people think it's amazing. It's like, it's actually not. But it's still, it's like, yeah, 25 megabit is, it's enough for anything. Don't try to laud it like, oh yeah, it'll be great. It's like, yeah, 264 will give you the same quality. Or at least, you know, you're gonna have a hard time seeing a difference. Now, the one technology though, where it's like, I get how it's neat, but at the same time, it's like, it's not that neat. And one thing occurred to me about it, and it's like, yeah, that's actually not that useful. It is a neat technology though, grain synthesis in AV1. So the way it works is it will first denoise an image, because noise is hard to encode. So it denoises it in order to make it simpler to encode, and then it just stores certain information about that, about the encoding, about the noise, so that at playback it puts on a layer of noise on top. And it's grain synthesis because it's going after film grain. Like that's basically the best well-known version of noise in video. But one thing occurred to me while I was actually looking at a movie. It's like, film grain changes it. Because it's not always the same film stock being used. Sometimes you have to use a faster film, which has larger grains. So, I don't think grain synthesis has any capability of actually varying it through the video. Which would mean it's actually not appropriate to use for basically any film, because it will get things wrong, just by the nature of how films are made. And also there's the whole, you are actually changing the image and synthesizing something. It's not the same image anymore. So there is also the question of, yeah, is this really right? And it's like, I'm kind of on the side of, no, it's not. You are, in fact, changing the image. So something like 265 that doesn't have the feature, or just AV1 without, although I have seen some point out that AV1 actually does also just soften the image in general. If you want to maintain fine detail, you gotta go some 265. And I'm perfectly happy staying at that. Yeah, I don't think that time is right. Well, actually, no. But yeah, so that's it. That is it. After all these years. And 84 videos. 84. I'm finally done with Viscera. And to give you an idea, by the way, okay, so I set something up to record this for me. The original recordings totaled 1,145 gigabytes. Okay? My reprocessed archive. My reprocessed archive copy, so it's a little bit smaller. Well, it's at the lower bitrate. So yeah, I can actually look. It does say. I can't see that information. OBS right now. Output. Recording. Oh no, I actually am recording at 50 kilobit. It's available bitrate, a CRF of 12, which should be quite good. Just realize I can. I'm actually recording at a full chroma, which is totally unnecessary. Whew, I did not realize I was doing that. The archive copy, though, I'm encoding it down to 25 megabit with a CUF of 15, a CUF max of 8, fast preset, which is fine. I did not realize though I'm doing that. Well, that can stay, but the upload version that I can probably change. So it's going to 420. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like still cutting the maximum bitrate in half. It still went from 1.1 terabytes to actually, did I read it off? Yeah, 1,145 gigabytes. And that's all the prior videos. So that's 1 to 81. But the final archive was sized at 769.26 gigabytes. So even with the CRF of 12, an available bitrate limit of 50, it still wasn't actually using all that. Because if it were, then that would mean that the re-encode should be about half the size. This is only about 3/4. It's actually closer to 2/3. So it's like it's actually probably only recording right now at around 30 to 35 megabit. And it's not necessarily that efficient. And it is. At 12, CRF of 12, the range for visually lossless I saw for X 4 years ago is 18 to 22. So I try to do like 15 for the archive, for long-term archive copy. But it's recording a CRF of 12. And the uploads, by the way, I try to target 18. So it's like all that is visually lossless. The archives are higher than visually lossless based on the CRF out. And it still is achieving that. It's like, yeah, AV1, if you're saying you need 25 megabit for lossless there, that's not impressive. Yeah. But hey, at least, 265, it's very nice and very fast. All right. It is quite a journey. And now, as I said, is already in the description, the world has been. See you next time.